Hey, you guys. Good morning. Happy Monday. Looks like a slow pre-market so far, but hopefully find something out there for the morning. All right, so to start out, I want to look at news. I have not even checked news so far this morning. It was so slow. So let's go ahead and start with that. Of course, we've got AMC that we want to be watching today. Which my plan for that is posted on the watch list. I don't know if we're going to even end up playing it. Cost is likely up because of AMC as well. We just don't have too many interesting gappers this morning, so I guess we have TUP, but TUP price action sucks. Yeah, we just have barely anything to really work with this morning. PXMD, hardly any range on the daily. You have the 50 right overhead at this 110, 112 spots. You've got no range on that. Checking this price action real quick on PXMD. It's not too bad. But like I said, under that 110 spot, it's just not a great look. Maybe over the 110, 112, I guess you do then have range to about 120, 130. But under 110, I wouldn't be playing this. Or under 115 at least now. If you take the break of 115, then you'd have the range to about 125, 130. Yeah, pretty clear range over Hive Day. I'm going to post that on the alerts. Actually, it is worth watching for. That'd be over Hive Day. And that does have news this morning too. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the pre-market news channel. I don't see news on TUP. Either way, TUP price action sucks. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up the Hive Day here on PXMD. I like it over Hive Day for the range to 125, 130. That's the best setup I'm seeing so far. I mean, it's a Monday, so I'm not really too surprised that we don't see a whole lot in pre-market. But, you know, usually Monday pre-market's the slowest, and then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Even Friday is fine, but yeah, Monday price action is usually pretty weak. But yeah, definitely watch PXMD over the high. While I keep on going over the news, you guys can definitely look over there and consider playing that. Just have to wait for it to base first. Don't just chase the breakout on it. So at this point, what you can do is watch for the break of 118, risking 115. So just wait for the confirmation break back above. Otherwise, not going to be a valid look. Alrighty, so PXMD best looking, or was, not too much anymore. What else do we have here? We have TUP, again, price action still sucks. Costs, no thanks. We just don't have a lot to really work with. So it might be a watch, because I'm looking around and I really just do not see a whole lot. Yeah, it's going to be a watch list morning. So we've got a fair amount of setups on last night's watch list. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 setups. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pull all of those up. We've got Bird, we've got THRX. And the plans for those are on the watch list. So if you go check out the watch list, make sure that you do that. Get some levels marked up. And THRX, that was the same one from last week. Bird is also the same one from last week. Favorite setup today, though, is VIR. That's going to be if buyers can continue to find this over 14. That is my favorite setup for this, not this week, but for today. For today, this is definitely my favorite setup. Daily is super, super clear. It's just a nice look. So we're going to watch for buyers over 14. And that max little line in the sand, like I mentioned on the watch list, is going to be 14. So if it does break that 14, this is going to be invalidated. But yeah, it's got quite a bit of range. So range here was 15.5 and 16. And then has the max range to 18, which I don't see likely, but it's a really good setup anywho for a bounce today. All right, then we've also got Siri again this week, SIRI. I don't know if I'm going to like that one today or not. I don't have a plan yet for it. We've got AVGO. So we've actually got quite a bit to be watching today, just not pre-market wise. We've got 6 setups, so that's good. It's good, at least we're going in today with kind of a game plan. One that I really liked, that I'd really like to play today. I'd say I've got 2 that I would really like to play. I've got THRX and I've got VIR. Both are really similar setups, but both look really, really, really nice. So that's going to be my main watches for this morning. Let me finish looking at news here. I wish we had more action here in pre-market, more news or something, because we really have hardly anything here. And today's the 24th, guys. August is in 6 days. That is nuts. I feel like I'm saying that every other week, but it's just crazy how fast time's going by. Alright, so we have news on STKH. There's just not a whole lot, dude. Decent action on NEO this morning. Looks like price target upgrades this morning on NEO. Do we like NEO? Do we like it over 10.8? Do we like NEO over 10.8? Do I want to add that to my list today? It's tempting. NEO is tempting. Not here, but today. I'd say off of 1078, 1077 is a nice look. Yes, I'll be watching NEO today for sure. Auto open. Not enough volume here in pre, but I will watch it auto open. You've got range to, well, pretty tight range. 11.10 and then up to the 200 up here at, what, 11.3. Yep. So we're gonna watch Neo today. Out of open as well. Yeah, we've hardly got anything, man. We've got our 6 setups from the watch list, and we've got one from pre-market that looks okay. Hmm. Well, well, well. I guess all we have today is the watch list and Neo. Very light on the news. Alright, so we still got about 45 minutes till open. I wish that we had something, though, other than the watch list to go over. But yeah, this is my favorite setup hands down today, though, this VIR. If we see buyers on the setup open, this is going to be a pretty easy trade for sure. Just definitely be smart this morning. You know, of course, pre-market is slow. Usually whenever pre-market is slow, it's usually pretty indicative of a slower morning. So I'm going to be sticking to the few setups that I do like today. If they meet my criteria, I'll trade them. If they don't, I'll be sitting back. But we at least do have some A+ setups going into the morning. It's just a matter of if they do find buyers or not. If they don't find buyers, we're not going to be trading them, but fingers crossed. Let's see, Paul, you're saying you want to hear my thoughts on BJ with the daily gap overhead. Let me take a look. I guess you mean over 66. You've got the range to what, 69? Yeah, no, you can definitely watch that over the 66 level, yeah. If you get that $3 range. I guess really depends on how long it takes to make that move up into the gap, because you do have the 200 right overhead at 69. So if that 200 gets dragged down to 68, 67s before it actually breaks up into the gap, then no, I wouldn't like it. But for right now, the 200 gives you enough range up to the top of the range, so yeah, might be worth a watch. I personally probably won't play it just because it's not my type of trading, but if that's what you like, you definitely got the range there on the daily for sure. TUP is just not stopping. But it looks like junk, so it's... Yeah, I just don't like TUP at all. Might see what it does over Hive Day, but... Today's probably one of those days where I'm going to, come in, take 2-3 trades, and then call it a morning. We'll see what we get after open. But for right now, it just looks like it's going to be a slow morning. Hoping that does change out of open, though. VIR, though, is going to be one of those that I feel like I'm going to be able to take one and be done. If we do find those buyers out of open on VIR, because it's a really, really nice setup. And I either want to risk the 14 or I want to risk Hive Day. I don't know yet. It really depends on where we find buyers. Of course, if we do find buyers over Hive Day, I'm not going to risk 14. That would be stupid. I'd be, that's way too much drawdown to allow in the setup. So I either like it over 1436 or I do like it off 14. It's either going to depend on how soon or how quick and aggressive those buyers do come in on this. I'll keep it neat. I'd actually risk the 1430. Might actually be a little bit better. 15 is going to be a little bit of an issue, but that gives us enough range to at least get 70 cents. Risk should be 10 cents or less, I would think. Or 15 cents or less. And Paul, as far as taking it for a swing opportunity, I would say, you know, if it can, I don't know, it's kind of tricky. If it makes its way up into that gap and base is over for a few days, maybe get a weekly candle close up into that gap. Or even a daily candle close into the gap over, I would say risking 66 flat. So if you get a daily candle close over 66, you can always look for it, yeah. As long as you've got it maybe in at a 60, I'd say under 67 entry. At least that way you'd have close to 2.5 to 1 or 3 to 1 to the max top of the range. But we do have a lot of swing ideas for this week. I actually posted up a pretty long list on the large cap watch list. We've got EA, we've got Halliburton again from last week, which we timed the bottom on somehow. We've got AVGO, we've got SPUX, we've got Fast. So we've got quite a few that look good for more longer term swing ideas. And I actually might go ahead and set price alerts on all of those while it's slow. So let me actually do that. Primarily the top two. I don't really care for EA too much. Just because, like I said, that's going to be Microsoft and Activision sympathy, and I'm not really a fan of playing that. So we've got Starbucks and Fastenal. Starbucks I like off pullbacks, risking. Okay, we've got a pretty good look on Starbucks here. Actually, why would I want to risk 99.5? $99.5 would have made sense last week, but I don't really see 99.5 making sense here with it being over 102. No, yeah. I'll still rock with it. I still like it on the weekly. Okay, so we got our 99.5 entry below. Cool. I do really like Fastenal, though. Probably my favorite swing idea that we've got right now. Looks like max risk of 55.10. More of a longer swing idea on Fastenal. trying to think on VIR, I might actually adjust my plan so that it's not buyers over 14, but it's actually going to be buyers over 14.30. Yeah, I think I might do that. I don't want to play it under Friday's high of day. Yeah, let's adjust that real quick. So rather than using the 14, we're using the 14.3. And if you guys have any setups that you want me to look at, just let me know. Since we have a pretty slow pre-market here. Got about 28 minutes until open. And still, like I said, top watch for me is going to be VIR. Just hardly any momentum, any volume in pre-market today. Like we've got really nice setups to watch. It's just in pre-market we've hardly get anything here with news. I guess it is what it is. Out of curiosity, since we do have most of you guys in the stream now, since it's so slow, let me hear how you guys did last week. Just out of curiosity. Because last week was kind of tricky. It was pretty slow for the start of the week up until Friday. And last week I was really small green. Let's see here. I think Monday might have been pretty good. Let me take a look real quick. No, so Tuesday was the biggest day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was still small just because of the lack of trades, but it was still pretty easy. Oh, Vibin, you only traded Friday, dude? That was good. Every other day was crap. It was slow the entire week. It was still green, but it was just slow. Ross Green. Alright, we've got 26 people in the live. I want to hear how most of you did last week. And if you were red, don't be ashamed. Mike, you had 3 green days. How have you been doing, Mike? Improving still? And Vibe, no, you've got to be okay with taking days off, brother. If you're too busy outside of the market, then there's no reason, you can't trade, and you're not intending to be, trading every day anyways. Green week, but you traded with less than half the usual trade size. Yeah, I traded small last week too, just because of price action. Like I said, the biggest green day last week for me was Tuesday. I don't know, did we have something big on Tuesday? I think that's the day that we had MASI and what was it, UPST? Yeah, we had MASI and UPST and Carvana that day. Well, that's good though. Just make sure you guys keep it up, and obviously keep on avoiding the afternoon. Avoid the afternoon, trade the morning, trade your plans, come back the next day. But last week was definitely pretty slow. I'm just hoping, because of how hot it was on Friday, that doesn't carry over or last week doesn't carry over into this week and be slow again this week. That would be ridiculous, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Although we do have FOMC tomorrow and Wednesday, so not really looking forward to that. Christian, you are asking, do I put the same amount of money into each trade? So, no. And if you look in the alerts, you'll see that some are small size and then some are just normal, right? So it depends on risk and confidence in the trade. But for the most part, yes, it should be consistent. As long as you are trading with a similar strategy in all of your trades, you should have an average loss. For me, that's about 2%. So, if you have an average loss of over 100 trades, that is 2%, right? If you trade with the same size in pretty much every setup and you keep your size consistent while your risk is also consistent, the averages just kind of play out there. And as long as you win more than you lose, you're letting your runners run correctly, and yeah, then you're on the right track. But yeah, definitely don't just size sporadically. Don't take, twice the size on one thing and take, minuscule, tiny, tiny little size on some things. And I used to post lotto alerts in the Scalp Alert channel because it's something fun. I like to play lottos just with a couple bucks, for fun. But I'm not posting those anymore because people are irresponsible. They see a lotto alert, they go stupid. So, but yeah, definitely size consistently. I found that if you're having to take tiny size on something, you're probably not confident enough to play it, which means it's probably not an A+ setup. So only trade setups that you can take that consistent size in, yeah. Unless it's like a really, really quick scalp, or it's like we're playing something into a halt, out of a halt. you know, whatever it is, then I'll take smaller size just because of the increased risk. But yeah, no, generally it's about the same size. And that's going to be dollar wise, not share wise. So, you know, if you have a stock that's $5 a share, you're not going to take 500 shares on that and then take, you know, 100 shares on something that's, you know, 25 bucks, whatever. So you're going to take the same dollar amount, not the same share amount. And what actually helps with that, if you go on Webull, I don't know what you use, but you can actually change it to calculate positions rather than using a share amount whenever you're entering. You can actually change it to a dollar amount. It might make it a little bit faster for you, so you can keep it more consistent that way. So if you want to buy something with $1,000, you know, go to your order settings, put it to dollar amount, and then just put it to 1,000. And then you can always switch it back to share count after you're actually in. So you can scale and you can, you know, add and all that good stuff. Vibin, you're saying what time for FOMC? I will send the calendar in there so you can save it. If you scroll down a little bit, you should see it on that list. It's the same time every time. So we got 2 p.m. And Christian, a lot of what we trade are not low floats. We only trade stuff that is highly liquid that has a lot of volume. So, but is market or ask better on Webull since a lot of these are low floats? You're saying. I mean, market and ask, those kind of go hand in hand. If you're trying to, you know, get filled at the market, obviously it's going to fill at whatever price it can, even if it's, you know, having the fill some at say 5 cents, some at 10 cents, some at 12 cents, you're going to get filled. But at the ask, I mean, you're stuck at a limit at whatever price the ask is. So I don't ever try to get filled at the ask unless it's pre-market or something. You might have to, but you know, either market or last price is going to be your best bet. Like I said, a lot of what we trade, pretty much everything we trade is highly liquid, so you don't really have a fill issue. You know, you'll notice if we ever see something with low volume, if it is a low floater and it's got low volume, I'm not going to be playing it. So only stuff that is highly liquid, we usually trade are, you know, things that are over $3 to $5, more likely than not. That helps as well. But yeah, you shouldn't have an issue. Like today, my top watch is VIR, and the float on that is 114 mil, so you shouldn't really have anything to worry about there either. And THRX, the float on that is 37 mil, so it's not like we're playing any nano floats that are like 1 mil to 5 mil, right? And we do sometimes, but you shouldn't have an issue filling out the market. Got about 15 minutes before opening. Muscles, yes, it is slow this morning. Don't really have a whole lot to watch right now. After open, we will have plenty to keep an eye on. AMC, obviously, we're going to be taking that off the watch list. I don't like that anymore. PXMD, not really a fan either. But we've got we've got 2 setups that look good going into open. We've got our THRX and our VIR. THRX is a nice look, but volume the past 2 days have been trash. Even up against that daily gap fill level there at 367. VIR though traded pretty decent on Friday. Let me take another look. Got 6 million shares traded, which compared to its float is nothing, right? 5 minute looks decent on VIR. So yeah, I do like VIR today. Vibin. So I want you to think about this for a second, right? I'm going to show this up on the screen over here so you can look at this. Let's drag this over here. All right, so you're saying if you have a 3-to-1 risk to reward, would it always give you a stop loss of 1.7% from entry? I want you to think about that real quick. What do you think? So you've got a 3-to-1 risk to reward. Here's your risk of 3, or your reward of 3, your risk of 1, right? I want you to think about that. Let's say one of them, for example, you're, you know, in at 10.20, for example. So you've got your 10.20 entry. You're risking 10, right? So in that situation, how much risk do you have? You've got 2% of risk, right? But let's say your reward here is 6%. So you have your 3-to-1, right? But let's change that a little bit and say your entry is 11. You're risking 10. So you've got, what, 10% of risk. But your potential reward is, you know, 13, 14, 15, whatever. Just as an example. Let's say you got 40% of reward. So you're still in that 3-to-1, 4-to-1 range, but look at your risk. I mean, obviously that's not going to stay consistent. Or, yeah. I mean, you gotta think it. Try to think about it a little bit. And creative, they're all different stocks. And I always have SPY right there in the middle at the bottom. Other than that, they're all always changing depending on the pre-market gappers and whatever's on the watch list. Vibin, I can't believe you asked that. Oh my goodness. Yes, and it is oftentimes 1.7% or 2%, yes. But that's going to change depending on the setup. So that's an average. That doesn't mean it's going to be every single setup. Some setups you might have 5% risk. Some you might have 0.5% risk. The 12 minutes still open. What are you guys going to be watching out of open, out of curiosity? I'm only watching the 2 setups, really. I don't really think anything else is going to be meeting criteria, other than maybe new gappers that we might get. But it's just so slow. We got VIR, THRX. I was going to watch NEO out of open, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to be doing that anymore either. I don't know what this move is. At 9 o'clock, I guess that could be a broker type order crap going on. So maybe watch NEO. You do have the range to 11.10, which isn't a whole lot. You get like 2% of range. Mr. M watching nothing. Decent look here on TLGA. What is this? Looks like one of our D-SPACs, like we've been seeing the past couple of weeks. We had GGAA last week. Speaking of which, is it still halted? It is still halted. That thing's been halted now for 11 days. What about ADTX? ADTX still halted too. It's the 10th day since it's been halted. Vibin is going to be watching TUP over 134. Let me check the range on this. So why are you going to be watching it over 134? What do you think the range here is? You might have room to 1.5, 155, and then it really opens up after that to the 170s. I don't know. I don't like price action on it. It's been trading like junk all morning. I'll keep it on my screen. It's actually coiled pretty tight going to open, so it definitely might be worth a watch. Let's see, over 134. Let me check the range on this real quick. See, that 140 is kind of concerning me a little bit. I mean, if we open at a nice spot with some decent buyers, maybe you do have the room to 155 here. Yeah, let's watch TUP out of open too. Mike, your monthly green calendar is more green than red. Now, before you joined here, how was it? Was it more red than green or what? Yeah, okay. I'm going to look at TUP out of open too. I'm going to post up my top watches into open in the day trade alerts channel. Alright, so got quite a bit to watch here now. Got 4 that I want to be watching out of open. Creative, what do I think about XXII? Let's see. Neo getting a bit of buyers here back out of the 10-8s. I don't know if I'm going to be watching that out of open or not. Let me see, creative. You're saying, what do I think about XXII? Oh my goodness. Well, I definitely don't like it, that's for sure. Creative, out of curiosity, what makes you like XXII here? Definitely stay away from that. Trying to catch a falling knife is not a good idea. Play strength, don't play weakness. Yeah, but no, you're trying to play the weakness there. Definitely stay away from it. I see what you're saying, but when you've got sellers like that, that's a big old no-go. All right, you guys, on the free streams, I'm going to be shutting them down here in about 2 minutes so we can get into the live trading in the Discord here up until 11. Make sure to join up. Definitely a slow pre-market today, but I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and I'll see TikTok tonight for watch list prep at 8 o'clock. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your morning. Be smart, be safe, be responsible.